We have on my man, Mr. James Whittaker, who is a three-time best-selling author, award-winning entrepreneur, and host of the Win the Day podcast. We get into his Win the Day framework in detail. We share some of his happy hustle hacks for money, for health, and for spirituality. Let's dive into this episode of the Happy Hustle podcast.
Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee! All right, my brother, Mr. James Whittaker, welcome to the Happy Hustle podcast, my man. I am super stoked to rock the mic with you.
You know what? It makes me happy just seeing you and hearing your voice. So I'm grateful to you, my friend, for having me on today.
Honestly, man, we did become fast friends. You know, we hit it off, and I'm just grateful for you. Getting to know you has been a blessing in my life. And I mean, you're a stud. Like, let's be honest, you're a 3 times best-selling author, award-winning entrepreneur, and host of the Win the Day podcast, which has over 70 million views. That's crazy, man. Good for you. And it's probably even more because I don't know when you updated this, but is it more than that now?
It's more. We're in the 80s now, but it's great. And you know what I think bonded you and I together, which is just so important. I love being around people who just want to know where are you going and how can I help. That's just it. Have a tight group of people in your network. Where are you going? How can I help? If you can do that, you can move mountains.
That's so true, man. What a great point. And yeah, I'm honored that you got that vibe because that's exactly what I attempt to put out. You know, it's like good karma circulates, people. So that's a pro tip for all you happy hustlers out there. Anyway, James has taught his Win the Day framework to some of the world's leading companies and coached billion-dollar CEOs, Olympic gold medalists, and special forces operators. His superpower is in helping ambitious but frustrated people gain immediate clarity on what they want and giving them a bulletproof plan to achieve it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, man. The Win the Day formula, right? Basically on how you can happy hustle a life you love, and specifically getting into tangible tactics, right? I love giving the people like the nitty gritty truth, not just talking theory, but actually how to apply it. And I know you do too. But before we get into all that good stuff, James, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
People listening to this trying to guess my accent. If you guessed New Zealand, you would be wrong. If you guessed Australia, you would be right. I am just someone who I feel like I bloomed very late in life. I feel like I'm still in the process of discovering who I am. When I was in high school, I was always very envious of those people who had a very clear focus of what they wanted to do in their life. They had a very clear path of do well in high school, go into the university program they want, and then have this occupation that they would have until they retire and they have kids and grandkids, and that's their life. And my path has been so different to that. It took me a long time to get comfortable in my own skin. It took me a long time to get clear on what my purpose was. But now that I have arrived, I'm ready to give it everything that I've got. And what I've seen is about a lot of those people who had that path very early on. Not all of them, but some of them have unfortunately lost their battle with mental health because they didn't have the right disciplines, the right framework, the right relationships, and all of those different things that you and I talk about. They didn't have those things in place. And as a result, there have been some pretty devastating consequences. So that's why I do the work that I do today, is to help people to achieve really great mental health and avoid making a poor life decision that has very dramatic ramifications for a whole bunch of people left behind.
Yeah. Wow. Well said. And I think you just explaining that gives people hope too. If they're not where they want to be right now, like if you're out there listening right now and you're not super stoked with your reality, you're not exactly, at the career you want to be, or your business doesn't reflect the impact you desire, or your even bank account doesn't have the amount you crave. Hearing people like James talk about being a late bloomer, and you see those like lists of people. Sam Walton started Walmart at 54 or whatever, and Colonel Sanders started Popeyes at 72 or whatever, you know, like it's like, oh, okay, cool. Vera Wang, whatever, 48, you know, and you hear about these people. Don't fact check me on any of those, by the way. But the point is they're late bloomers too. So I just love that you went there and you give people hope. And, you know, speaking of giving people hope, like winning the day is the hope for everybody. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen often. I want to actually first start by defining terms. What do we mean when we talk about winning the day?
Well, it's very simple. I define winning the day as total output in the areas that matter most to you.
Mm,
That's really what I think success is on a given day. Total output in the areas that matter most to you. Now, if you don't know what areas matter most to you, so if you're someone who doesn't have a great deal of intention in your life, then you're not going to have a very good output because you don't know where you should be allocating that action that you need to take each day. So if you're clear on what are those areas that are most important to you, and you've got a bit of a holistic view of your life. I have
mm,
business and my career over here. I have my marriage and my relationship with my children over here. I have physical health and mental health. So every single day I write down what are 3 things that will make today a win. And they're not all related to the one thing ever. One of them might be to go and bring a great energy into a podcast I'm doing. And then another one might be to do a great gym session. And then another one might be to be relaxed and present with my children as part of the evening routine. If you have all of those things focused on one area, you're going to find yourself out of balance very, very quickly. Now, when you've got young kids in the mix and entrepreneurship, either of those things separately is very, very challenging. But if you put
yeah.
those things together, it is a very, very demanding life that
Mm,
we lead. And that's just where it's even more important that we focus on the process, getting a little bit clearer on what's most important in our life, and then we can focus on winning the day. Total output in the areas that matter most to you.
yeah. I love that definition. Total output in the areas that matter most to you. And without a clear target, you'll never know what areas matter most to you. I think about archery, you know, it's such a basic example, but if you pull back the bow and you don't have a clear target, your arrow will miss every time. Yet people operate in their own lives very commonly making this mistake. And you and I have, again, so many commonalities with our different philosophies on life. And specifically, the win the day, you know, formula to success is very much aligned with the soul mapping system and, you know, our happy hustling, both personally and professionally. One of the things that we talk about is like your key 3 MVTs, your most valuable tasks, you know, and we have them personally and professionally. So I love that you have that yin and yang, that balance of the two. How do you specifically, again, I just like to dive right in. I mean, you have an amazing backstory. Yes, I know that, but I like to give people just the meat and potatoes right up front and we just get right into it. How do you balance this personal and professional life as a high performer? Is there anything specific that you do intentionally to keep that harmony?
Yeah. I think one of the worst things that you can do is wake up and have absolutely no idea where to focus your attention.
Yeah.
If you wake up and you know, cool, look, I've got limited time because I've got kids, I've got a million different things to do, but where do I start? Or what is the action I need to take today? That's really, really challenging. So giving yourself 5 minutes in the morning to write down what are those 3 things that will make today a win. But to run you right through to my daily routine, this has been refined over years and years and years. When I wake up in the morning, the very first thing that I do is recognize that the day is there to be won or to be lost. And I make the decision to win. Because if I have a quote that I put up at every single speech that I do. It says, each day, if you do not make the decision to win, you have automatically made the decision to lose. And it's
Mm,
true. If you have no intention for your life and you're not clear on what work you need to do today and how it relates to where you want to go and the bigger mission, you're going to fall victim to procrastination, distraction, and all of those other things that are not going to put you in a great spot. So the acknowledgement and the decision is the first and most important thing. I literally have win the day written on my bracelet here. I wear it on my wrist. I've been doing that now for years and years and
Love it.
years because it's so important. The next thing from there is to prove that I've turned up for the day. It's not enough just to make the decision. The next step is to prove that you have turned up for the day. So what I do is I do something challenging, which for me is always a cold shower. A cold shower is great. It's starting to get a little bit colder now. Nothing like Montana. It's pretty weak, the cold in California, but it has been getting a bit colder lately, and I actually love that. The colder it is, the better, because it's a really good challenge. I never feel like hopping into the cold shower. I'm always resistant to it, but you feel so good after it. And then from there, I sit outside in the sunshine and I do my morning journal. I use an app called the Day One. It's a free digital journal app. There is a paid version if you want to have it back up all of the photos and things that you add, but I think it's like $30 a year. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And I created my own Win the Day journal template. And what that includes is what's unique about the last 24 hours, like what things that I did in the last 24 hours. What am I feeling gratitude for? So not what am I thinking gratitude for? What am I feeling gratitude for? And there's a really big difference. And then I write down what 3 things will make today a win. They're so important. They've got to cover different areas, but that way I have some intention. I know where to allocate my energy. And then I write down a lesson, if there is one. I have intentional breath in there as a reminder, just to draw in some intentional breath. And then I add in some photos that have just, I've got kids and I love having those memories pop up every single year. Once I've done those things, making the decision to win, cold shower as part of the sacrifice phase, and then presence and intention by being outside in the sunshine and doing that daily journal phase, I'm ready to do anything after that. Like that's it for me. I have many other things that I do in a given day, but those alone, I think, make the biggest difference.
Yeah. Those are great. And it's so funny, people, they don't actually make that decision, right? Am I going to win today or not? Am I going to write my story or am I going to read it? Like that's oftentimes what the decision is. Are we going to be reactive or proactive?
There's
It's
an
binary.
apathy. Yeah, this apathy that people have in the world today. There's no urgency. Now, sometimes I might be a little bit aggressive with the way, I walk fast. I do all this stuff very, very fast. I talk fast, generally bring a pretty big energy because I'm passionate and I love talking to people about what's important to them. There is too much apathy in the world. I wish people could reconnect a little bit more with who they are within and what type of impact they want to have, what type of example they want to set for the people around them. Just get to work, get it done. Just inject a little bit more urgency into your life.
Yeah, it's true. Time is our most precious commodity, and every single day it's just ticking away. So, have to be intentional. Um, I'm curious, what is something a part of your daily routine that maybe is a little, embarrassing to talk about or unique or, something maybe that goes under the radar that you've seen benefit from? I feel called to ask you that because I know you are very much into routine and protocol.
Yeah. One of the things I do with my daughter, who's 5 years old, my son's a little bit too young for this, but we'll say, we just talk about like, what do you want to say thank you to the universe for? Which is just a nice way of having that grounding of that gratitude. We do that as the final thought before bed. So I always do that too. I believe it was Thomas Edison who said, never go to bed without a request to your subconscious. So what I'm doing when I'm asking my daughter that question is I'm trying to plant the seed of gratitude and positive energy that's going to bring in more of those types of things. So we work on stuff like emotional regulation. We work on breathing. We work on all of those different things. She's very social. She's got a pretty big energy a lot of the time. So we're certainly not immune from tantrums and meltdowns and all of those things that can happen at a young age. But teaching emotional regulation is very, very important. And we also just talk about, I don't really frame it in terms of winning as yet, but we talk about like what was the best thing that happened today? What do you want to say thank you to the universe for? They're all really powerful. I also do that final thought before I go to sleep. Like my last thought as I close my eyes and drift off to sleep is about like, what is something that I want? What is an opportunity I want to secure? Someone I want to connect with, a goal for my business. I'm just putting it out there and just saying, I'm just putting it out there. Like, thank you for this coming true by the end of 2025, whatever that is. And it keeps you on track. It just keeps you focused and ready to go.
Yeah, that's great. just having that clear intention to your subconscious right before bed, it's a golden nugget. I hope everyone hears it and implements it, because that's one of those things that can make a monumental impact on your existence.
Oh yeah, and I connected you with Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor. I
Yeah.
asked him about that during an interview. Ask him about that as well. Like I
Yeah.
spoke to him and I said, "Look, I heard this quote. Is there science behind this?" And he was able to dive into it. And I think that'd be really fun for you guys to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you then again for that intro. Okay, so I got to get into the win the day framework and just the genesis behind it. Give us like, where did this all come from, and specifically how someone can actually win the day with it.
Yeah. So all the work that I've done over the years, I've coached people at a very high level. I've coached everyone from aspiring entrepreneurs right through to people who are leading billion-dollar businesses, people all around the world who have done amazing things. I've coached Olympic gold medalists who are then looking to have their next chapter of success. And they want to try and figure out all these different elements of personal brand and mindset and business and the integration of all of those different things that they want. So I have worked with people from all different backgrounds. And I realized as I worked with these leaders as individuals, there's only so far that they can go alone. They need the team behind them. So I realized there was a pretty big gap in terms of the service that I was offering. I was able to help them as individuals, but if I didn't have anything to be able to help the team behind them, then there was a bit of a ceiling on how far they could go. So that's how I created this win the day methodology, which I've been all in on this for the last probably 6 months ago. I really started broadcasting this out to the world through Success Magazine, all the speaking events and other things that I have done. And what that looks like is WIN is an acronym. It stands for Wonder, Intent, Nurture. And we can dive into those areas in a little bit more detail. So wonder is just being connected with a vision much bigger than yourself. It's having a vision pulling you out of bed every day. You don't need to wake up and feel motivated. You follow the process of making the decision to win, cold shower, intention, and then you feel motivated to do the reps. But having something bigger than you, being intensely curious about how great you can be from your one extraordinary life is so important. So that's where we start. We look at your purpose. What is your personal purpose and your professional purpose? And we line those up as much as we can. So everything that you do in your life gives you energy rather than taking it away. And then we focus on what are your 3 winning traits, which you can think of as core values. And those drive your decisions that you're going to take and really how you want to show up each day. And then the next step from there as part of Wonder is we really put in some goals for you. So these simply serve as markers on the path to show that you're living in alignment with who you are. A lot of people go straight into goal setting. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think if you get a little bit more clarity on who you are in terms of purpose and your winning traits, that enables you to then figure out, cool, here is how I want to show up. What's the direction I want to go in? And how can I put some markers in the path to show that I'm living in alignment with who I am? And then with every decision that you're faced with in a given day, you simply run it through the filter of, does this help me win? Like, just hanging out with this person, does this help me win? If the answer is no, because all they do is talk shit about people, or they're just not a very nice person, or they're going to be out drinking till 3 a.m., a younger version of me would have been all in on that relationship. Not anymore. I want to be showing up good the next day. So the answer in that situation would be no. So that's wonder. I'm happy to dive into intent and nurture as much as you like, but that's a bit of a high level overview. Win is wonder, intent, nurture.
Yeah, I love that. Wonder, intent, nurture. The wonder, that's what you said. I just want to echo that point because I think it's important. You don't have to like have the certainty, right? The confidence that you would imagine a Olympic gold medal athlete would have. You just need to have wonder that today's going to be a great day and I'm going to win. And here's how. And it's like putting one foot in front of the other, micro steps, the compound effect, right? Darren Hardy, these small, tangible, tactical steps that will lead to a big result, right? And when I think that disarms the potential overwhelming nature of, the concept, would you agree?
Absolutely. And let me introduce these other ones now as well, because I think this will really help sort of complete the puzzle that people have in their minds. And I've got this, graphics and resources that I can send if you want to overlay this, if you're releasing a video version of it.
Yeah,
So
please.
if we spoke about all the things I just mentioned there as wonder, so you're excited, you know exactly who you are, what type of people around you, and you have a very clear direction. You have all of that stuff taken place. The next thing we focus on is intent. So the two elements of intent are environment. So everything you consume, it's food, it's relationships, it's your physical living environment, your physical working environment. It's everything you consume, books, everything, all of that. So that's a really big one. And then the other part of intent is routines. So your commitment to a course of actions that are going to bring out your best every single day. So you can imagine there, if we're pretty clear, we're starting to feel like we've got an inspired life because we've connected with our wonder, and we know a pretty specific direction of where we want to head in. Next is we build in some rituals, some routines that enable us to show up as our best self and keep that output high. And we stack it with the environment, as in who are these influential friendships, these really significant relationships that can help us make those goals and those actions just to get them ticked off so we can keep moving forward. So wonder, intent, and then the final part of that of nurture to tie it all in. The two elements of nurture are stress and adversity. So stress is not chronic stress where you're burnt out from your career. Stress is how willingly you're getting out of your comfort zone so you can grow. And adversity is how you respond to bad things when they inevitably happen, as they do for all of us. Anything can happen to you and I and anyone listening and watching this, later today. Anything is possible. Anything could happen. How are we going to respond to that? Obviously, I can dive into all those things in a lot of depth. But once you have all of that stuff together, you have family, you have career, you have just inspiration across the board, and you build a life that gives you energy. You don't have the apathy like we spoke about earlier because you're living a life on fire. You're living a winning life where you become so valuable in the process that the impact that you have on other people around you is just an incredible sight to behold.
Yeah, dang. This is some gold. I love it. I mean, just to again recap. So intent, there's two pieces to that puzzle: environment and routines. Environment, you're mentioning, food, relationships, your actual physical home and office, like what that looks and feels like, and then your routines to support your goals. And then you have nurture, which is talking about, how are you going to overcome stress and adversity. Dive into stress a little bit, because I think this one's, something we all encounter, specifically, as we're recording this. The holiday season's coming up, then you got the new year, and it sometimes breeds stress, I feel like, because you're closing up, especially as entrepreneurs, we got to, finalize our numbers, our taxes. We got a lot of stuff paperwork wise. And you also have, at least for me, you're dealing with the holidays, with sometimes the family dynamics, and so I don't know if anyone resonates, but talk about stress a little deeper for me and how we overcome that.
Yeah, you need to design a life that doesn't burn you out in the process. To be brutally honest about some of the things that are happening in my life, I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Mm.
I've got a wife who travels a lot for work. Right now, she's in Colorado for work. So, I do the evening routine and the morning routine with the kids. We've got some help during the day, thankfully, and my daughter goes off to school. So juggling those things in a phase of life where sleep is just a lot more challenging when you become a parent. You just your sleep quality deteriorates considerably. So some of the things that I'm working on at the moment is, of course, when you become a parent, you also lose your identity a little bit to yourself. You lose that partnership that you have with your spouse, because you're both just trying to survive. You're in that survival mode for a long time. So the last little bit for me, in the last phase, the things that I've noticed are I need to have greater connection with my marriage. So we're prioritizing things more like date night because we've been horrible at that. And another one that's really important for me is just bringing a bit more joy back into my daily life. I'm very good at doing the grind and getting the work done, but I have not been very good at saying, what is it that I love to do, and giving myself 20 minutes or 1 hour of that every single day. And if you can inject a little bit more joy into your life, then you're going to start to alleviate a lot of that burnout that can really bring people to their knees. And then the third thing that I've really been noticing a little bit lately is just back pain. And it's not related to anything structural. I can go to the gym
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that The Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
And squat 200 pounds and everything is great. But I have this non-structural pain that manifests as back pain, something called tension myositis syndrome that I've been reading more and more about. People, particularly if they're entrepreneurial or dealing with a lot of stress in their life, is I'm a very calm, relaxed person. I'm very passionate about what I do, but I have so much stuff going on. I haven't had as much joy as I would like. I haven't done things like sleep quality needs a lot of work as well. So I'm feeling a lot of this stress inside, which is manifesting in back pain. So it's pain that's non-structural, and it's really interesting. And people like Joe Dispenza and a lot of other well-known people talk a lot about these things. And it's had times in the last couple of months where it's been a little bit debilitating in terms of it's just very uncomfortable. It's like an electric shock in your spine. So one of the ways that I'm alleviating that is incorporating things like meditation. I've always been resistant to meditation, but everything in my life is caught up with me, and I now I need to use meditation so I can focus on that breathing and that presence and that calm to alleviate the back pain. I bring in more joy into my life, and then focus on shoring up some of those other things. That's some of the stuff that I've got going on and how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. I mean, I like that you just gave us real examples of what's going on. And that's another thing, man. Keeping it real and authentic is a trait I truly appreciate about you. It's somewhat rare in this life of Lambos and standing in front of rented jets and, not being authentic. We call them furus, fake gurus. They don't keep it real.
Furus, I love that.
Yeah.
I like Elon Musk. He's wearing a t-shirt, doesn't own a house, just sleeps on the floor of wherever he is. He's in the Twitter office drinking tap water. I think the days of the furus, the big diamond encrusted watches and all this other crap. Like, come on, I naturally gravitate towards people who have physical health. They've got a great marriage. They've got a great relationship with their kids. They're focused on the impact that they can have, just so much more than things like material possessions. And if that motivates you, then go for it. But there's got to be a deeper level to this game.
For sure. And let's be honest, I like nice things. You like nice things. It's a piece to the puzzle, but it's not the only thing, right? And that's not what I deem as quote unquote successful, and I have a rule where I don't take advice from someone I literally wouldn't trade places with personally or professionally. And I think a lot of people, they just see the professional side, and then again, complete despair on the personal side, that 3 divorces, don't know their kids, not connected to God, not physically in a good shape or health. it's not success, right?
That's
So
yeah. Speaking on stage with a lot of these people at events that I have not been organizing, but I'm just there as a speaker, where I see a lot of these very well known
yeah,
personal development and business experts who are telling other people about how to, get their shit together and all of those things. Yet their physical health is so obviously a complete mess, or they've got a whole string of just horrible relationships, or you hear about some of the ways that they have treated people
yeah,
around them. I just,
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty amazing actually. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that I do in Win the Day, I am very committed to being the antithesis of all of those things that were out there about what success is. Like you have to be real. You've got to be open and vulnerable about these things. But above all else, you have to turn yourself into someone as valuable as possible, because the more valuable you are, the more value you have to use to help other people. And that's what I love about the
Amen.
moment that you and I had first connected. You were just so eager to know what was I doing and what could you do to help. And I just, it's such a great thing. I would rather one of you than, a million of those furus out there that you mentioned.
Thank you, bro. That means a lot. I appreciate it. I echo the sentiment right back at you, man. And not to just stroke each other till we make the audience sick. But the truth is, this is the key to winning the day is showing up in that mentality, right? And yeah, you got shit going on. I got shit going on. Especially when you're throwing kids, man. Your marriage, it takes a turn. You have to reclassify what you are to one another and how to prioritize time, how to show up for your kids. You have to, you know, put that into the calendar in a different capacity now as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, what your entire schedule looks like. Talk about, putting joy back into your daily life and taking care of self. Sometimes that gets neglected. So you have to really think, okay, how can I, again, cliche, put my oxygen mask on, fill my cup so I can give from my overflow and show up as the best version of myself. And then sometimes it does manifest as physical pain when that's an alert system for your body telling you, hey, something's got to change, right?
Mm.
We all have these kind of moments and, alerts that pop up in our life. And we can either recognize and heed the warning or keep pushing and then end up in burnout land, which I did. And that's why it sent me on this whole journey of the happy hustle. So I think it's just so important to win the day. Think about, again, wonder, intent, and nurture, and how you can actually, you know, put this together so that you wake up super stoked again with your reality. Any other kind of points that you want to mention when it comes to the application of the win the day formula?
Yeah, you asked about a little bit more detail on the stress, and I shared some of my personal insights there. Something else I think would be really useful and practical in that sense is if you have a goal, you've got this big lofty this mission that you want to achieve, and the Navy SEALs call it chunking, right? Like you've got a big goal that you want to achieve, a big mission. You just break that down, you chunk that down into individual steps, and you're not focused on the end thing. You're just focusing on executing the next thing at the best possible level that you can. Like before you hop out of an airplane, you don't want to be thinking about your family. You want to be thinking about jumping out of that plane as best as you possibly can. Otherwise, you won't make it home to your family. That's why the stakes are so high for the guys in the special forces and that do incredible work like that. So if you have a goal, say if your goal was to go and do a TED talk and be successful with that, I would say, cool. Let's look at this framework that I've created about how we could diagnose and make that better. We need to get a little bit more clearer than on who you are. So your professional purpose. Why is that goal important to you? And then we say, cool, we've got a bit of purpose behind it. Then we can say, let's put some specifics behind it. So we might say, let's say the goal is to get 1 million views on a TED talk. And then we say, cool, what is the environment that you need to be in? Like, who are the people that can help you achieve that? So you would find a coach who already has a success that you want, who specializes in TED talks, and you would hire that person and they would help you craft a good TED talk. And then as part of the routine with that, every single day you write 300 words or you practice it for 20 minutes or carve out 1 hour in your schedule. So it's done every single day. And then the stress part of that, when we move on to the final bit, is getting on any stage that you can to really strengthen that muscle of being comfortable and confident speaking in a public arena. It's very much a learned skill. Anyone can be a skilled public speaker if you do the reps and you have the right mentorship behind you. So on the condition that you can do those steps, all of a sudden that goal of having 1 million views on a TED talk, which seems impossible, is a reality in a 1 year time horizon for pretty much anyone if you craft the right plan and follow the steps outlined in this framework.
Yeah. I really appreciate the example because, again, theory is one thing, putting it into practice is another. And again, this ain't rocket science, people. We're not reinventing the wheel. But James has a proven and tested formula to crush life. And this is one of those things where if you just take it and even if you just did half of the things a part of the win the day formula, you'll be better off even a quarter, right? Even 10%. But the point is putting all of it together where that you are now moving again into your dream reality. I talk about that a lot, and it's defining it first and foremost. Not very many people know what their definition of success actually is, personally and professionally.
Yeah, that's right. And I have in conversations that I've had with people all around the world, the ones who feel like they're not living with purpose, they feel like they're going through the motions, they're just treading water. It's always because of two things. They're not clear on who they are and they're not clear on where they want to go. You got to check in with those things. Who are you? Like, who are you really?
Yeah.
Who are you really, and where do you want to go? What type of life do you want to have, and how do you want to show up for that life every single day? Answer those two questions to begin with.
Yeah. I think it's also important to talk about money. And I want to hear your take on this because, you know, putting myself in someone's shoes listening, right? I'm in a job that I'm not enjoying, right? Or I have a company that I created a job that for myself that I'm not very thrilled with. Okay. So I get caught in this path that is essentially restricting my growth in other areas because I'm beholden to the paycheck, to the business. And I get in this loop where the sense of security and significance that I'm currently getting down this path is holding me back from, again, my dream reality and this destination of a higher purpose and happy hustle and a great life and winning every freaking day. So I'm at this crossroads, right, James? What is the process to, you know, essentially allocate time, energy, and money and resources to this dream path and not do so in this burn the boats mentality where that sometimes I can end up in a state of stress and overwhelm that's even worse than where I started on the first path. I know that was a loaded question, but take it where you will.
All good. I see a lot of people recommending that people should overextend themselves for that burn the boats mentality, like you just shared there. What I would do instead is something very, very different. I would sit down with your spouse and I would say, here is our current financial situation. Let's map out a vision for where we want to go financially with this family that we have created. So you're looking at that really as a separate business of where we're at right now. So we've got some awareness of where things are at, and then what needs to change. What type of life do we want to build? Finance and communication are the two biggest reasons why marriages break down. So if you can do that, you're also going to shore up your marriage very, very well. The next thing you need to do, so that's step one. Step two is to spend less than you earn. This is so simple, but no one really talks about it. Spend less than you earn. I've seen people who when you really get a bit of a look under the hood of how much money they're bringing in versus what's going out, it's like, how is this person possibly in debt with how much money they're bringing in? But spend less than you earn. Do you need 2, 3, 4 cars? You need to be spending all of this money on these different things. Like, really just like, let's make some smart decisions here to be able to do that. Number 3, I would make the process automatic. So we mentioned in step 1 that you've got a pretty clear idea of what you want for your family. That might be cool. Now we're going to allocate $5,000 every single month that goes away out of our account. It's going to be invested in the index, and it might be matched with $3,000 or $4,000 to keep the LVR at a pretty good level. So that way you're buying $5,000 worth of shares with an extra $3,000 or $4,000 shares through borrowed money, and you're doing that at a consistent basis every single month. So when the market's down, you can buy more units at a cheap price, and when the market's high, the value of the overall portfolio is going up. And at the same time as you do all those things, you focus on step 4, which is continuing to invest in your own skills. That might not necessarily be making more money like immediately. What it is in terms of spending money to allocate skill development, what it might be is just carving out time in your calendar to get better at things that are going to help you generate more money and attract those financial resources to you. I think if people did those things, you would have everything that you need financially very, very quickly.
Yeah, man. Skills pay the bills, right?
That's
And
right.
I think about the probably best skill that I've ever acquired is, I call it the sales sword. Some people, aka my brother, he would call me coercion carry. And mainly for like family activities, I'd always kind of get, my say a little higher in the ranking than the other family members. But the point is, sales are a really important piece to, again, the puzzle when you're growing your income and your impact. And I think sales is so universal that it can be applied to your personal and professional life. I know Rory Vaden, friend of mine, talks about pressure-free persuasion, right? So how you can do so where you're not a scammy, snake oil salesman. No one likes that guy or girl. But the point is, you got to get your skills and how you can really, we talk about our roadmap system: rapport, obstacle, aspiration, demonstration, match, ask, pull. And it's like a talk track just to basically crush any sale and create a conversion. Do you have any pro tips on sales? I know you've made a lot of sales in your life, right? Like, and it's, again, you're selling yourself to win the day every day. So any like kind of mindset tips or hacks when it comes to sales and the skills behind it?
I get feedback from people I know who are very good at that. I'm from Australia, and I think our mentality in Australia is a bit like, like being a country boy in America, where selling stuff isn't such a comfortable, natural thing to do. For me, it was very much a learned skill. So the way that I think about it, after all my years talking to different people and having experience doing these things, my instinct is just to help people. But a transformation cannot occur unless a transaction takes place. I get hit up all the time from people saying, can we jump on a call and have a chat? Can I take you out to lunch? Can we do this? I just need your help for a minute. Constantly. I'm getting
Pick your brain.
Exactly. Can I pick your brain? I'm getting millions of these every single year, and I would love to help everyone. And what I realized doing that is we might have a call for half an hour or an hour, and I've tried to help that person as much as I can.
Right.
But if it's not long enough to be able to provide some structure around the support that they need, so they're not really invested in it. I'm not really invested in it because we don't have those parameters in place. But if you have some type of service or product to be able to facilitate that transaction where they are invested and you are invested, and you've got very clear expectations around what will be delivered, then the transformation can occur for that person over time. And some other things that I think about, anytime that I have a price of something, I always look at how can I 10x the value of that. So it's like if I was going to give you, if I said, if you give me $10, I'll give you $100 back, you would say yes any day of the week. So everything that I'm putting out there is cool. If it's a $10 price point, how do I make sure you're getting 10x the value of that? And then really the final thing from there is I stand behind every single product that I've ever had, whether it's a book, an event that I have put on. If people don't absolutely love it, if you rock up and you do the reps and you meet the people and you do the work, and if it's not just 10x value of that experience, let me know and I will immediately refund your money. I don't think I've ever been called up on that, because I'm always so obsessed with going above and beyond. Of course, you need to make sure that you've got a good filter so the wrong people don't come into that ecosystem to begin with. That's really important. And then another thing for sales, really, that's probably worthwhile adding is making sure that you've got the right people there to begin with. And that's where having a third party endorser to go and do that can be really useful. Like imagine if you did a podcast where you talk about how good's Carey. Carey's a legend. Like I'm such a great person. People will be like, well, that dude's a bit of a dick. But if I came on and I start talking about how generous you are and how skilled you are at these different areas, it's a separate person doing that, which is a much smoother, it's a much more legitimate and authentic and trusting way to be able to build that connection with
Mm,
people that you want to have those relationships and professional relationships with. So tapping into your network to say, cool, here is this product that I have. I'm looking for these types of people. Let them connect you with people that they know so they
yeah.
can really give you a great warm introduction to that. The trust is already built in. You don't need some 50-page slide deck to be able to get them over the line.
Yeah. Touched on some really great points there. The inner champion, aka like, having referrals, best type of leads. 10x in the value. Like I use the 3-to-1, but man, you're doing 10x. So good for you.
It
Like
can be it can be challenging. And the first time I learned that was because I posted very first time I was hosting a virtual mastermind. I spent all this time, hours and hours on this landing page. I put it up. It was spectacularly underpriced and not a single person bought. And I sent it to a friend of mine and was like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, how is this value not like
yeah.
how has no one bought this? And that was when it was like, cool, let's make it an absolute no-brainer. Let's make this person feel like
Mm.
they're the idiot if they don't go ahead with that.
Yeah, yeah, really great frame there. The other thing you mentioned was a guarantee. Like we have a happiness guarantee on all our stuff. But the key here that, and I heard you say it, is conditional guarantee because they have to do the work. Like if you show them the door, give them the key, but they don't put it in and turn it, that ain't on you. And I've only run into like 2 refunds issues in our whole business life basically, and one was because just without getting too deep into it, I didn't have clear terms. So one, define clear terms when you're selling anything, and then the second thing is, they canceled on a mastermind like the day before, and I'm not going to give a refund for that because that was in the terms. You don't do that. The point is, have a conditional guarantee. It'll increase your conversions greatly. Anyway,
Yeah.
this was phenomenal. I just love talking sales and all things win in the day, and I think it's part of it. So thank you for humoring me with your insights. Where can people go, James, to learn more about this? I know you have an awesome quiz. Talk to us about some of the stuff online where if people want to go deeper, where's the best place?
Yeah, so I've got a quiz. You can go to winthedayquiz.com. 10 questions. They're fun to do. It's super fast. In 30 seconds, you will get a personalized PDF sent to you of a personalized action plan to help you get out there and win the day. So, yeah, you can go to winthedayquiz.com for that or hit me up on any of the socials if I can be of help.
Yeah, and on the socials, let's be clear too. It's James Whitt, right? WHITT.
Yep, that's it on Instagram and Facebook and my website, jameswitt.com. And TikTok. We're going pretty hard at TikTok at the moment.
Are
So,
you? You
yeah, that's
TikToking?
yeah, TikTok. And like I haven't done a single dancing video.
No,
And it's great. We've hit more than 80,000 followers, I think it is on TikTok. It's
really.
yeah, it's good.
Good for
It's
you.
a good place out there. And what I'll give a bit of a social media tip here for people as well is you can put
Please.
those videos up on TikTok, and then you can take them and put them up on YouTube Shorts and these other platforms as well. So TikTok's a great platform to be able to test and put that stuff out there, and then you can have a process of getting it out there onto those other channels.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been a little concerned about China's involvement in TikTok. I don't know. It's just kind of halted my progress. We put stuff on there, but I just don't go on there.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in terms of there are so many other pieces of that equation that TikTok itself, especially
Right.
with so many eyeballs on it, I'm not worried about it. And
Yeah,
if half the country bailed on it, awesome. You got more of an opportunity to go and make some content and reach some
it's
others.
true. Yeah, and not that like all of our information isn't out there, especially we're getting watched in every way, shape, or form. It's like privacy is basically came and went, people. So
Exactly. Social media platforms have been selling your personal information for years and years and years. If they want my stuff on TikTok, honestly, have it. It's a curated feed of inspiration. There's nothing up, really of anything personal up there for me. So I do believe also that if you're a kid, so Australia recently just banned social media for people under the age of 16.
I think that's
And
good,
I
right?
think that's a good move because
Yeah,
social media for kids is like heroin. It's crazy.
terrible. Yeah, gosh, what a great policy. I didn't know that.
Mm.
Good for the Aussies. I got to go there, by the way. I need some recommendations when I
Of
do.
course.
It's on my list, man. It's on my list. And we got to get you out to Montana soon. All right.
We'll make them both happen.
Yes. All right. I want to take you through the rapid fire round. And this is basically where I just ask you random things. And then you answer honestly, first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready, James?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. Let's go. Favorite food? Hit me with it.
Pizza.
Favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Favorite book?
Think and Grow Rich.
What's your spirit animal?
Dolphin.
Oh, nice. Best business advice?
Action is the real measure of intelligence.
Happy hustle hack for your health. Something uniquely James.
Every morning, write down 3 things that will make today a win.
Happy hustle hack for your money. Uniquely James.
Spend less than you earn.
And then happy hustle hack for your spirituality.
Final thought before bed, make it a good one.
3 things you're most grateful for today.
Something so basic. I was doing my morning journal and I just looked at the changing color of the tree in my backyard in front of me. And I thought that was really, really nice. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for an awareness that I have of trusting the process of this next phase of business that I'm going in.
Love it. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, James, what does that billboard read?
Make the decision to win, or you've automatically made the decision to lose.
Dang, crushed that rapid fire round, man. And woo-wee, I got to say, this has been awesome. Truly one of my faves. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you, man, for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your win the day formula with us, the raw, authentic examples behind them, and truly the application as well. Like, I feel like people out there listening and watching can really apply the win the day formula now based on this conversation. So I'm just really grateful for you, man. Grateful for how you've shown up in my life, even just in our, short friendship, and excited on what's to come. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, likewise, Kerry. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Just wrap it up in a bow. Give us a call to action for everyone out there. It can be back to the quiz, or it can be something just more esoteric. Where do you want to leave people with?
Oh, I got a message from a friend saying that someone that he was mentoring gave one of my first book to this kid, and I sent him this video message back. I said, no one is coming to do the work for you. It's all on you. One of my favorite quotes of all time from Napoleon Hill is that it doesn't matter what you know, it matters what you do with what you know. So you've got to get out there and get it done.
Heck yeah. And I end every episode with this final question, which is, what does happy hustling mean to you, James?
Total output in the areas that matter most to me.
Boom. Crushed it. Mic drop. James Whittaker, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everybody.